Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where are my socks? Honey, where...
Daddy, would you like some sausage? Daddy, would you like...
Fucker! You fucker! Fucker!
Oh! Huh? What the f...
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime, back again with BS Reviews. That's BS for Bionic Slime and nothing else. If you're noticing my voice sounds a slightly tad different sounding, that's because I'm actually suffering from a very, very shitty and pain in the ass cold, or sickness, or summer cold, or allergies, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm sick. It's been pissing me off and crippling me for the past 3 or 4 days, and by crippling I mean it's making my voice sound like it got raped by several large gorillas with pointy objects, if that makes any sense. If not, then figure it out for yourself, because I sure as hell don't know either. But I basically got sick and tired of sitting around letting projects pile up my computer, and I figured, well, I want to get some stuff going, because obviously people are showing you interest in my reviews and my channel page on YouTube, and I thank all of you for that. It's been extremely overwhelming to see how you guys have been helping me, and I just wanted to basically get the show going. The show must go on. I can't let this stop me, because I enjoy it, and it seems that the rest of you guys seem to be enjoying it, so why the hell not? The film I'll be reviewing today is Pixar's Up, the latest film from the infamous CGI company that has made Disney so much friggin' money that it nearly saved its ultimately dying and capsizing ass from sinking into obscurity after releasing a truckload of shitty movies, with the exception of the Pirates of the Caribbean films, which have long since been over for quite a while, and until their Princess and the Frog film, a return to traditional animation, comes out later in this year, I can't say if Pixar will be the only crutch Disney will be able to rely on, but in this case, it's a pretty damn good crutch. Pixar's Up is, of course, brought to you by Pixar and Walt Disney Pictures. It is directed and co-directed and written by Pete Docter and Bob Peterson. Stars Edward Asner as Carl Fredricksen, Christopher Plummer as Charles Muntz, Jordan Nagai as Russell, Bob Peterson as Doug and Alpha, the dogs, and Ellie Docter as young Ellie. She never give her last name, so I don't know. The plot of Up. Contrary to most of these barely revealing and cryptically confusing trailers and promos, Up is not just about a guy who ties a bunch of balloons and flies around the world. It follows the adventures of a young boy, at least how it starts anyway, named Carl Fredricksen, a lad who's enticed with adventure and excitement and exploring ever since his beloved hero Charles Muntz came back from the mystical jungles to reveal the skeleton of an ancient creature, a bird that he claimed to have found during his adventures. However, people were skeptical about this and chastised him for being a fraud. Claiming to go back to clear his name, Charles Muntz heads back into the jungle and vows to not return until he has proof of his discoveries. It is this love for adventure and exploring that forces Carl Fredricksen and Ellie, a young girl he meets while exploring an abandoned house, to meet and fall in love and eventually become boyfriend and girlfriend and get married. Unfortunately, Ellie becomes ill towards the end of her life and dies before Carl Fredricksen and her could realize their dream of planting a house on Paradise Falls, the infamous adventure spot where Charles Muntz was heading. Realtors are now trying to repossess Carl's house and force him into a retirement home, but instead of taking either of those horrible-ass options, Carl Fredricksen finds a new one and tying billions and billions of balloons on his house and literally flying the sucker right off the property into the sky in hopes of landing it on Paradise Falls, as Ellie would have wished. Unfortunately, he won't be doing this alone, as he discovers a reluctant stowaway in the form of Russell, an overeager and overly annoyingly ambitious young Boy Scout who tags along and is forced to hang out with Carl Fredricksen until he can get his assist in the elderly badge and complete his little Boy Scout troop mission thing. And so Carl and Russell are forced to go on an adventure together to Paradise Falls, facing whatever dangers, excitement, and pleasures that they may meet along the way. Review of the plot. Like I said before, the promos and trailers really don't do this film much justice, at least in terms of clarifying things. It kind of makes it all sound a little happier and much more delightful than it actually should be. I mean, it still is, don't get me wrong, but I gotta tell you, the first half almost made me cry. I mean, it's seriously a tearjerker with the way they play out the relationship between Ellie and Carl, and it was beautifully done. And I think this kind of works in the sense that this will attract a much bigger crowd who would sometimes be possibly be inclined to avoid it because of its serious subject matter in the beginning. It's not a very all-serious movie, but there's still a lot of heartache in it. Just like in Finding Nemo, there's a lot of deep shit that they have to go through before you get to the cutesy comedy stuff that everyone thinks Disney Pixar is made of. But I liked how they did that, and the whole idea behind this movie revolves around the opening sequence. And in that sense, this is a beautiful story because basically it shows what a testament to love is. And it really shows how the strength of relationship can empower a person. And I thought that was a great idea. It was simple and yet imaginative at the same time. It doesn't matter that it's not realistic that someone could do that with the balloons. It's just a fantastical, adventurous idea, and it works in that sense. I'll review the characters. Up has a relatively small cast, which is okay because you have plenty enough to see with not only the main characters but all the weird-ass crap that they're seeing in between. Carl Fredricksen is beautifully, and I mean beautifully brought to life by Edward Asner, who I've loved for many years as J. Jonah Jameson from the 90s Spider-Man cartoon show. I loved him as that. And he's just great here. He knows just how much emotion and empathetic anger, sorrow, or sadness, depression to deliver in the smallest amount of lines. He's got a bunch of mehs and grunts and stuff like that, but he really sells it with those little voices from his amazing talent to invoke such a strong performance of this little old man. And his dry wit with the humor is just perfect. Jordan Nagai as Russell. I don't think he's been in anything much before. I'm not really sure. But he was great. He was actually not as annoying as most human child characters are in real live movies. He actually made him funny, they made him cute, they made him likable, and not so obnoxious. And I applaud them for that. Christopher Plummer, who was another voice actor that I have treasured from my childhood past, who's I know him best as the Duke of Owls from Rock-a-Doodle. I don't know if any of you guys remember that movie. Pretty good movie. Not the best Don Bluth's ever done, but still good. He gave a great job as Charles Muntz, and it turned out to be a lot more surprisingly effective than I thought he would. But by far the funniest has to go to Bob Peterson, who played Doug and Alpha the dogs. I mean, he really just had some great lines with those animals, and that's one of the best parts about this. It's the dialogue. It's very fresh and snappy. The jokes are really well in tune to people of all ages, that adults, senior citizens, kids could all get. The whole concept of the dogs going, "Squirrel! I love you." It's just so accurate. You can just totally tell. Like my girlfriend said, you can totally tell that whoever's writing this, they have a dog, and they know exactly what it's like. They know how to get right into your sense of frame of mind, and I think that's a brilliant thing to have in terms of writing for a film. They write so much on the emotions that you don't even have to worry about the ludicrousness of the plot. The characters work it out so much well, and because it's a small cast, you're able to enjoy much more of the fantastical part of the story. Review of the music and animation. The animation was not my favorite that Pixar has done for humans. Everyone looks kind of very short and pudgy, with the exception of a couple characters. Some of them actually looked very similar to a lot of the character styles that were used in Incredibles, which is one of my all-time favorite Pixar movies. And it was nice in this sense. I particularly loved Carl Fredricksen's designs, and Russell's was okay. He looked kind of like a giant, like a living weeble, and Charles Muntz kind of looked like a little creepier version of, I can't remember his name. Playboy guy. Shit, I can't remember his name. I'm too sick and tired right now. But you guys know what I'm talking about. Hugh Hefner, there you go. Frick me. But, it was an interesting style. Not my favorite, but not bad. Music was very good, very touching, very amusing, very serious when it needs to be. It did a very good job. Negatives about the film, I guess I could say it's because it relies so much on the adventures that these characters experience. It doesn't really leave much in terms of the development because these characters have so little in common, and so it tries to force them together. And at times, it just almost felt like they were only getting along for the sake of the movie. Don't get me wrong, it's a great film, and the relationship is actually very powerful. But at times, I think the fantastic adventure part of it seemed to overpower it. And that was great for what it needed in this film sense. But in that sense, I felt it kind of got lost. It's strong character development, strong character connections, but I think Pixar has done better in terms of character strengths and bonds, particularly with Wall-E, which I thought was magnificent. But still, this is not really a bad thing. This movie's not that bad compared to what other films people have done in the past. Final wrap-up review, Pixar's Up is a great movie. It really is. With the exception of the Basically, it's not as great as Pixar has made. Pixar has made better, but that does not, in any means or any way, demean this film or make it any lower than it actually is. Pixar is a fun, touching, emotional story with great characters, great acting, and just a well-written script. I eagerly give Pixar's Up 4 stars out of 5 stars. That's all for now. I hope to be talking to you guys when I'm feeling much better. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.